So now we have our splash screen. It's time to look at the overview screen where we're going to have a list of all the recipes. So if we press space and click and drag in order to go to the right, we can press the A key again, make another iPhone 8 artboard, and let's rename it and call it overview. So we'll have a list of all the recipes there. So the first thing we're going to need to create is a little header on top. So let's create a rectangle that we'll put on the top bar here. Let's make it around 50 points. If it doesn't work out right away, you can always just edit it here. So let's say 50. We'll give it a white background and we'll add a little bit of a drop shadow effect right there. If you want to edit this drop shadow effect, you can of course easily change the blur settings, maybe slightly less on the Y setting, and let's make it a bit more light. I might increase this. So now we have a nice header box there, and now we have to put some text inside in order to show the user that they are inside the Salt app. So let's select this piece of text, and you'll notice that when you're hovering over items that there's a blue box surrounding it. If you are clicking, you will always select the group containing these items. So if we want to select only the text, we can use the control key or the command key, and if we hold that one, you'll see that a line appears below the word that we have now. Same goes for the rectangle, same goes for the image. So I'll just command click on the word, I'll copy it, and I'll paste it here. Of course, it needs to be slightly smaller in size, so let's decrease it, and about 22 should be fine. And now let's align it to this one. So let's do the horizontal align and the vertical align. You'll see that now it's being dropped down. Now we can group it again. So we'll call it header. And let's align it to the top. Now we have a quite neatly aligned header for our app. Now, of course, we need to make the list with the actual recipes inside here. So as we just written down, the recipe consists of a few items: name, time to cook, amount of servings, etc. So let's create that here. I'll just move the text here so we have it nicely legible. So let's first start with the name of the recipe. So let's make a rectangle quite like this size, and let's just put recipe name here. Then we'll create another text layer. Oops. And that layer will contain the time to cook. So let's say it's 5 to 10 minutes. It's a very fast recipe. And then let's just double click this one again in order to have it on the right size. Do the same thing for the amount of servings. So let's say 4 people. And oops, I need to resize this one as well. So let's double click and then pull it out so it can still contain a larger text. And now we're coming to a nice tricky little thing, because this 5 to 10 minutes is a bit vague. Like, how is someone going to know that that is the time to cook and not the time to eat or something else? So let's add a nice little icon in the front here. And the nice thing about Figma is that it has built-in icons because it has the material icon font. So if we go to material.io/tools/icons, you will find a website where you can find all sorts of icons that are default in the material guidelines. So for example, time to cook could be indicated by a clock. Unfortunately, the clock is not there, so maybe we need something like time. Yes. So this word below here is the actual name of that icon. And if we type access_time in our Figma text layer, so I'm going to copy paste this layer, move it slightly to the left, and then type access_time. And now I select the entire text, go through the font family selection, and I will type material icons, press enter. And now you will see we have the icon immediately inside the app, which is, I think, a great feature. So let's align it a little bit. Now let's copy paste it and move it down in front of the servings. So let's find an icon for the amount of people that you can serve with this. So let's try people. There's actually a nice one just called people. So let's do that. And now that we have this, we can maybe do something about the styling here. So let's set this one to the same font we had for our logo. So Montserrat. Let's give it some weight and slightly increase the size to make it more legible. And let's do the same for the fonts here. Choosing the right fonts is always quite difficult. Maybe Montserrat is actually not the best choice here. So let's just go for Open Sans for a bit more legible on smaller sizes. And let's give the icons a different color. So I just selected these two icons. I'm going to here and let's make them slightly grayed out. This would work, and increase the size a little bit. I think 16 is about okay. And now let's just group these two items so we have a nice sort of settings list that maybe if we want to expand it later on with more properties. So I'm just gonna shift select the access time here as well, Command G to make it a group. So let's call it a setting, and do the same for people and for people group, and let's also call it a setting. Now we can select both and move them around any way we want. And of course we also said that we wanted to have a nice picture of the actual recipe, and we're going to use the same plugin for that as we made to use the splash screen. But let's first put a nice rectangle around this to make it a real proper list item. Okay, we have that now. Let's make it a white background as well. Add a little shadow effect. I will decrease the color a bit so it's slightly less like in your face type of shadow. And now let's move the layer back notch by notch by notch until it's all the way in the back of the group. Now we're just going to select this, Command G again to make the new group, and let's call it a list item. So now we have the recipe list item. Let's just put an image on top as well. So I'm just gonna move this one slightly up so we have some room here to place the image. Gonna create a new rectangle. I'll move it on top there, and let's do it like this. So now it's approximately, yeah, it's exactly the same size as the rectangle below. And we're going to use the plugin again. So plugin, Unsplash, and then we'll choose food. Hopefully something nice pops up. What is this? Berries or tea? Let's try something else. Pineapples. A piece of pizza. This looks nice. All right, I know it's only the top of the pizza, but who likes crust and who likes the actual pizza? Anyone of their own. All right, so here now we have our list item, and we have a very quick sort of item that we can reuse. Oops, we still need to put the rectangle inside the list item. And now we can, of course, copy paste this in order to create our list. So let's do that quickly. As you can see, Figma sometimes helps you by pointing out that you have something positioned in the same dimension opposed from another item. These are all these nice handy little cues that come in handy quite a lot. And let's change the photo here as well. So we'll go to Unsplash again. Choose food. What do we have here now? Spaghetti. And we'll do the same for this one. Choose food. Another spaghetti. But Italian focused food. Wow, pasta. Okay, this looks good. All right, so that concludes the overview page, and we will step into creating components in the next lesson.